Okay, good morning everyone. We're going to go over the safety test on the drill press. There's a couple of things I want you to understand. In the machine shop side of things, we have what we call an old style manual milling machine that we predominantly use for drilling. Okay, this thing can actually be used for way more than that, but in most cases here at Capitol High School, we use this older machine for drilling holes. And most of the time what we do is we put your metal into the vise that is attached to the machine, and then we slide your metal in, we tighten it in the vise with the handle, and then that is holding it securely, and then you're able to drill. Okay, there is also another drill press. There is a drill press in the welding shop that is strictly for drilling. It really doesn't do anything else. And I'm going to do a second video on that machine as well. So you're going to have two videos on drilling using the drill press. I need you to watch both, okay? All right, for one thing, you guys, let's go over safety on something like this. Anytime you're running a machine in which things are going to be spinning, for example, I'll turn this on up here. That drill bit is spinning around. If you were to get long hair or like a loose sleeve, a bracelet, a necklace that's hanging down, anything caught in that, you guys, you are going to get seriously injured. It's going to pull you in so fast you won't believe it. This machine in particular, you guys, has a huge motor on it with tons of torque. And believe me, that motor will not have a clue that it's got you wrapped up in this machine. And it's a good way to get killed, because this thing can get your hair in there, pull you in, smash your head into that. It's not like it's going to happen slowly. It will happen that quick. So my point is, we never operate a machine like this, particularly the drill press, where you got exposed parts spinning with anything loose that can get in it. So if you notice for this demo, my sleeves are up. Of course, I don't have long hair, but if you did, that would have to be put up, you know, with a rubber band or a scrunchie behind you, anything to keep that long hair from ever falling down into this machine. Notice I don't have a bracelet on. I don't have a watch, wristwatch on. I don't have a necklace. Anything that would get caught in here is an absolute no way, shape, or form, okay? All right, next thing, safety glasses. You guys, you're gonna have to have your safety glasses on when using this machine. That's a no-brainer, okay? Next thing, the switch for turning this on and off is up here, and there's actually an arrow that says on. Just turn it to that. Notice it spins. This machine is adjustable for how fast the spindle runs that bit, but I don't teach students how to do that. I do the adjusting, not you. So you're not going to have to worry about adjusting the spindle speed on this machine, okay? Now I do want to show you this, you guys. This particular chuck that holds the drill bit is you're going to need to open it and close it with a chuck key. And I want you to know this is in the drawer of one of my toolboxes in the machine shop. I'll show you in person where that is. But in that drawer, there are several chuck keys. The one you want for this particular machine, hope you can see that, has a plastic, clear, white piece of plastic that I've secured to it so that you know which one goes in this particular machine. This is very specific to this chuck key. So it has this clear plastic ring, zip tie clipped onto it. Make sure that's the one you're using. So what we can do now, you guys, is you stick this in here, and then we can turn this, and then what's going to happen is your drill bit now is loose, and of course it can come out of there. So of course you can put a variety of drill bits into this. This particular chuck will hold very small bits, 1/16 of an inch on the small end, up to a 1/2 inch on the big end, okay? All right. When you are drilling, you guys, you got to make sure this is really tight, or it's going to spin when it hits the metal. So when I put it in, I like to do it twice. I like to put it in, tighten it up by hand, take your chuck key, stick it in the chuck, turn it to where it's tight, on one hole, and then you can see there's another one here. I rotate it, and I turn that again, okay? All right, let me show you how to adjust this machine. This handle is gonna lower the drill bit up and down, okay? This handle right here is gonna turn the part, bring it towards you or away from you, okay? This handle over here is gonna turn the part either left or right. And this handle right here is gonna crank this thing up or down. It's lowering the work down. As you can see, this is lowering, or I can raise it up. So once you get the drill bit where you want on the part, so for example, I'm going to drill a hole in just a minute. I move this handle, I move this handle, I'm good where I want to go. Then you're going to need to lock the bed. So what you do is you tighten this lever down here, and you're going to tighten this one right here. Okay, it's hard to see under there. Now, you guys, these two can't be moved, and it makes this a rock solid way to hold your part. So the vise is tight, this is tight, this is tight, we're ready to drill. The speed that you go down, you guys, when you're drilling steel is slow. If you guys have been in a woodworking class, you understand that wood is so much softer, you can drill pretty quick through it. Steel is going to take some time. And we do a thing called peck drilling. This is an important step. When you go down, you guys, I want you to drill a little bit. It's going to cause a chip to happen. But then take the handle and lift up on the drill bit. That will cause the chip to eject out of the hole, and it also gives time for the drill bit to cool a little bit. The easiest way to ruin a drill bit, everybody, is to drill too fast. What happens? It creates a huge amount of heat. And in doing that, the metal actually gets harder and the drill bit gets softer. And then it's so dull and soft that it won't drill at all. So the key to peck drilling is drill a little bit, then come up, drill a little bit, come up, and then eventually you work your way through, okay? I do want to show you a unique tool here that we use at Capitol High. This is called a center punch, but it's spring loaded. So you guys, when you come up to a piece of steel like this and you want to drill, if you haven't made a little indentation there where you want to drill, more than likely that drill bit is going to dance around. It's going to hit right here, and then it's going to kind of wobble on you. Okay, if you've used a drill press, you know what I'm talking about. This is kind of want to do a dance. We don't want it to do that. We want it to start in a very specific spot. So once we draw a crosshair, you know, two lines meeting on your metal where you want to drill, what I like to do is I take this punch and I punch it at that exact spot, and it's going to make a little dent in it. Then the tip of that drill bit will line itself right up in that dent. I'm going to turn, and I'm going to turn this, hopefully you guys can see this. This punch, you guys, is spring loaded. So here's what you do. You get it lined up where you want to have your crosshair. Let's just say it's right here. It's just a scrap piece I'm using. You push hard and it's going to snap. You can hear that. I'll do it again. Then it made a little small dent in the metal, and that is going to be the perfect place for that drill bit to start. So I'm going to put this back in here now. Okay, I'm going to line things up. So I'm going to tighten the vise. Okay, loosen this, loosen this. Now I'll take my handles and line up perfectly where that little dent is, and that drill bit is not going to wobble. So I'm there. I'm exactly at the spot I want. Go ahead and tighten this screw, and we're in good shape. We're ready to drill. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. You can see it's quiet, it's no big deal. And then I go down. The drill bit doesn't wobble at all because it starts in that perfect spot. I go down, I make a chip. You can see there's some chips flying. Okay. Then I lift to eject the chip, which also lets the drill bit cool. This is called peck drilling. Go a little more. Let it cool. A little more. Let it cool. You get the idea. Don't reef on this, you guys. I mean, don't hang on it. There's no point. Steel is not meant to be drilled quick. Just go nice and easy, peck that, and now I'm through the wall on that thick square tube, and I'm good, okay? All right, sometimes this little center punch and making the dent is not enough to get the drill hole started where you want, okay? So sometimes you guys, we gotta drill a pre-hole, and what I mean by that is you use a different style of drill bit than the one you're actually gonna drill with, okay? This is a standard drill bit that I've put in there. Here's another picture of just a larger one. It's nothing tricky, it's just a regular drill bit. But this is called a center drill. I'm gonna kind of zoom in here. I hope you can see that. There you go. You guys, a center drill has a weird shape. As you can see, it's very thick in its body right in here, but then it only has drilling flutes right on the front end. And this thing is strictly for spotting a hole. The idea would be that this drill bit does not wobble at all. It doesn't bend. So what you do is you go down and drill a hole with this to start with, then you change this bit out and then put your other one in. Okay, so this is called a center drill. This will be a test question, okay? So for example, if I needed to drill a hole very precise, I could take this drill bit out, okay? Go ahead and move this over. I could put this large center drill in or a small center drill. They come in different sizes. This one just happens to be big that I've got in my hand. As you can see, this diameter is much smaller. Okay, they all do the same thing though. They're very short, they're very stubby, they're very rigid, and they don't bend. Okay, so if this had to be a really precision hole, what I would do then is I would tighten that up, take the center drill, go ahead and drill down, tighten my bed here, tighten the bed here, mark the hole. Okay, it's making a chip, really precision. Then I stop this. I take the center drill out, I replace it with the regular drill, and it goes right into that same hole. But it makes a really precision starting hole, okay? All right, I'm gonna review the test questions on this before I end the video and head into the welding shop and show you the other drill press. But let's go through these. So here are your test questions. They're quite simple. Number one, what two items must be used to hold down the metal when you're drilling? Number one, you guys, it's this vise. The vise is actually bolted to the mill, and then you put your part in the mill, you tighten it up, okay? So the vise is one. But the other thing we could do, you guys, if you didn't have this vise, or if the pieces were really large, we could take the vise off and use clamps. So the second part of that question where it says what two items must be used to hold down the metal when drilling, the answer is a vise or clamps. If we need to get big clamps, we certainly can do that, okay? You could take some very large C-clamp, for example, and clamp your work to there if needed. You don't have to, but those are the two ways to do it. Okay, number two. Why should you never use your hands to hold metal down when you're drilling? You guys, you never would hold this in your hand and drill. You gotta have a vise or clamps holding it down. Because what would happen, think about it. If you're trying to hold this in your hand and drill, as soon as that drill bit hits that metal and makes a chip, it is gonna catch that metal and rip this out of your hand and destroy your hand. I mean, it's gonna cut fingers off, it cut you wicked, and then this thing would just be there spinning like a helicopter propeller. Very bad news. You never hold stuff in your hands when you are drilling, okay? And if we have to use a hand drill, we would put it in a vise and hold it. Okay, number three, explain why gloves, loose clothing, long hair, etc. must be secured away and not permitted before using the drill press. They're gonna get caught in here, and you're gonna get your hand pulled in, you're gonna get your head pulled in, and you're gonna have some serious injury. Don't do that. Number four, at what general speed should the spindle be set at for drilling steel? You guys, the speed that this is turning, the spindle speed, is just slow. If you go fast, the drill bit is going to hit the metal, create a huge amount of friction, which creates heat, and it's going to ruin the drill bit. So the spindle speed is always generally slow. You can see it when I turn it on. Okay, it's not spinning very fast. Okay, number 5. At what general speed should your plunge speed be when drilling? Okay, now look, when I say plunge speed, I mean plunging down, which means going down. The speed that you plunge the drill bit down into the steel should be slow as well, or you'll create too much heat. So plunge speed is slow, spindle speed is slow. Number 6, why must you peck drill? The reason I said earlier that I wanted you to go down, lift up, clear the chip, which is called peck drilling, is so that the chip gets ejected out and it lets the drill bit cool for a little bit, okay? Number 7, what type of drill bit is best to start a hole when you need really good accuracy? The answer is a center drill, okay? These very short, stubby drill bits are not made to drill all the way through. They're only made to start a hole, okay? Number 8, what should be applied to the steel to reduce friction when drilling? You guys, if you're drilling a bunch of holes, one hole is not a big deal, but a bunch of holes, you definitely would want to apply some oil, like you could use used motor oil, which would be fine, to the hole, and that's going to reduce friction. It's going to keep the bit a little bit cooler, and it'll actually make it easier to drill. I don't worry about that when it's one hole, but if I'm doing a series of them, I would apply some oil to it, okay? That reduces friction, keeps things cool. Number 9, what must be worn for eye protection when drilling? That's a no-brainer. Safety glasses. Okay, and then next, last question. When can the metal shavings be removed from the hole, and what should be used to remove them? You guys, you don't ever want to take your hand and rub it across here after you've drilled. There's going to be wicked metal shavings. All over the shop, there are very small brushes that we keep around. I'm looking at like 3 of them right now. There's one at this milling machine, one on a table. You just take a small brush and you brush your chips off with the small brushes we have around the shop. I'm going to grab one right here. Okay, this one happens to be a small wire brush. I take that, I clear the chips off with some type of brush. Certainly not my hands. Those metal shavings are going to be wicked sharp and they're going to slice you to pieces. So don't do that. Use a brush. That wraps up the 10 questions on the test, but I need you to watch the second video, which is on the drill press in the welding shop, because I have some more stuff to cover with that.